Alrighty. Welcome back. First ever video podcast for the startups. Today we have Omid Kadiri in here. Kadiri, am I saying that right? Absolutely. You think I've known this guy for a few years. I think I could say it right already. Omid is a vlogger, social media, everything, skits, music. He's got his video production company. Very excited to have Omid here today. Thank you so much for coming, Omid. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while now.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you,
I
sir.
appreciate it. That was a really hype intro.
Just vlogger, did you say?
Absolutely. Trust me, we have a multitude of topics we're going to get through with Omid today. So, obviously, I want to start off with the beginning. Like I said before, we were talking about how I want to get an origin and introduce you to our viewers who don't know you and kind of know your story. And you were telling me that you started your intro into getting into film and acting right after high school.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what exactly made you think about getting into acting? Anything that inspired you? Something you got involved in? Someone else you saw doing something similar?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, going back, it kind of all started with basketball.
Okay.
And, just dreaming about playing in the NBA, seeing Michael, seeing all these guys like Kobe and Shaq and all these guys doing not only ball, but then they got into, movies.
Absolutely.
And then actually when I was 15, I wrote, I had like a journal. I used to write. And
Nice.
I wrote 3 things that I wanted to be. One was NBA player, which was the first thing. And then the second one was being an actor. And the third one was being a musician. So at the time, I was like all into ball. So I was like, okay, that's the first thing. Like, I got to get that.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to be that. And I mean, man, when we were playing at Paul Kane,
Yes.
I was training like all day, every day.
You were a workhorse.
Yeah, that's all I did. All I did was,
If you were at the St. Albert Rec Center at all, you knew Omid.
that was
Omid. That was his home turf.
service plays, baby. That's,
He was there all the time. The
was-
guy was ball is life. You were the first guy that I knew that was like ball is life.
Yeah, man,
and,
that was.
and lived it. Like you did it day in and day out. You didn't just say it as a joke or a fad.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I put my head into it, and I was like, I need to do this kind of thing, and then at the end of high school, with the whole thing of the coaches and stuff, they didn't really. I wouldn't say, I'm not going to blame it on my coach because I always put it on myself. But
Right.
after when there was no ball, I didn't have any offers. I went to a couple tryouts and nothing came through out of that.
Okay.
And then I kind of questioned. I was like, okay, what do I do?
Right.
And it went on as saying, well, I had so many different teachers and peers were telling me, oh man, you should go play ball here. They'll definitely give you a position, and but they didn't have anything to do with education. So
Okay.
so it was like I either pick my education or I go for ball. And at the time, I didn't have the balls to drop everything, leave town, and go play at like a small college.
Right.
Or so and my dad, like with brown parents, immigrant parents, you can't just be like, hey, I'm just gonna go dip out of town and play ball. And so I ended up just going to Concordia for a year, and then
I didn't know that.
I went there for a year, and my dad was pestering, but he's like, what's Concordia? Like, look at this guy, he's going to U of A, he's into medicine and doing all that.
Okay.
And then that motivated me to get into the U of A and then do my sciences degree.
And you just graduated last year? Was it?
Just in June. Yeah.
So congratulations.
Yeah,
on
thanks,
that.
man.
Yeah,
I
that's
appreciate
awesome.
that,
We're
yeah.
all still in the works of trying to achieve such a feat. but
Yeah, it's
Definitely a
you all know
process.
how much work goes into getting a degree. But,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As you were saying, sorry, before I cut you off.
yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, but and then I needed something creative. I guess going back to like the films and stuff, and I was like, well, I got music, or I got acting. And I was like, well, I'm gonna try into the acting stuff. So I ended up talking to a buddy, and he said, you know what, we should just start our own TV show. And I'm like, I have no idea.
Just like that.
Yeah, he's like, we should start our own TV show. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so just came up going into different ideas. And we watched this video actually on YouTube. and it was called The Hero's Journey.
Okay.
And it's basically about the ordinary man who goes through obstacles in his life, and he overcomes those obstacles. He gets to the rock bottom, and then after going through tragedies and going through all these obstacles, he becomes his own hero in his own life, and he's transformed from not being that ordinary person,
right,
but being this hero. And it was the hero's journey. And I was like, and it was like a 2-minute video. It was like a TED video, like one of those educational videos.
Okay.
And I got inspired. I was like, yo, that's sick. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
Hero's journey. It sounds sick. Like, why don't we take a story about the ordinary guy who might not have much talent, much skill, and go into something head first. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then from there, found a bunch of writers, had like hundreds of coffees with like random people in like the film industry in Edmonton.
How did you go about finding writers and whatnot? What did you use websites?
Google.
Yeah,
Literally Google.
Who
just
was writing
like
there?
Edmonton film industry, Facebook groups.
Oh, really?
And just
okay.
like messaging people, like who do I, and actually putting up Kijiji ads. Actually, that was the one thing. I was like, hey, I got a TV show. It's called The Hero's Journey, and I put like this like. I paid one of my buddies. He's a photographer, and he made this really sick like professional picture, and it actually looked like a movie poster.
Oh, I've seen it. Yes,
Yeah.
It's got half your face on it, right?
Yeah.
And it says The Hero's Journey.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the one.
Kinda
Yeah,
attract some people on the ad.
yeah, and that was like, oh my god! Like people were like, oh my god, is this like some like Hollywood production? And so like everyone was like, yo, is it like this? And I was like, nah. Like in my head, I was like, nah, this is like literally nothing. But it's just my buddy who took this picture and like edited it, and then yeah, that actually brought people to me initially. From the ad, I just put that poster, like the picture up, sent it to people. I was like, yo, this is legit, and I really hyped it up, right? Mm-hmm. And so when people had coffees with me, they were so excited. Yeah. And then slowly I kind of be like, yeah, it's just two students, like, we're just like two students, but we're trying to build this thing. And so, and then that's where it started. Eventually we had one writer, one director, 3 producers, and like, a bunch of actors, bro. Like a bunch, like actors. Well, they knew they weren't getting paid,
right?
But just from hyping it up so much, I kind of just got people's interest in it, and just like,
you got to sell yourself, though.
Yeah,
and you have to do something to attract people and make them believe and see your project and your passion the way you see it. And you're not going to be able to do that if you kind of just undersell it and just give the plain facts. I mean,
that's the thing, man.
How do you hype up like Apple computers when it started in like someone's garage? Like you can't just two guys.
Everything starts
in
from
a
that,
garage,
right?
Like dicking around with computers. You have to sell it in some way.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. It was like, how do I sell a script that a girl from the U of A wrote, and we have no writing experience. We just kind of collaborated,
right?
And I told them, like, I told everybody that like sat down for coffee with me, I was like, this is gonna get on TV. Like, this is gonna be a big thing. And so, I mean, eventually after telling the story, like telling them about the scripts, and I guess just from them seeing how hyped I was about it, they wanted to stick around, right? So, and then we did a bunch of auditions at my parents. My parents had a shop in Grandin Mall. They had a tailoring shop.
Okay, I think I know the one.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember now. I think I know the one.
Yeah, Kabul Tailoring, that's what it's called. But Grandin Mall like is just like complete, like it was deserted, right? So there's like 1 or 2 shops, and then everything was just empty, right? So we had these like empty, I guess, rooms.
Okay.
Right beside my parents' shop, and I was like, okay, we'll just do auditions here.
Oh yeah, those are perfect.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
And so I just I just put up an ad, and I told people, and I messaged people. I was like, hey, you're an actor. Like, there's a TV show that you could be on.
Yeah.
Like, you should come through, and the dates for the auditions are here. And it was just me and my buddy, and we have no experience at all, no way to judge these actors. And so like we had like, it was crazy, bro. We had like 40 or 50 like actors show up.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
First 2 days of audition, and they're bringing their resumes and their headshots, and have this little like dinky ass like camera set up in this like really like dark room. I had like no equipment, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, my name's so and so, and yeah, just look through them, and I'm looking through these resumes, man, and they've done like years of acting experience. They got like TV shows, movies, and I'm like, oh shit, like
Damn.
I'm screwed. Like they probably know like this is like some sort of, they probably know like it's
some catfish or something.
yeah, exactly. But
That's a weird process, the whole auditioning thing.
yeah,
Like you have to go in there and put on this face and convince someone to like you and to want you
Yeah.
to be in their film.
yeah,
That's kind of a weird process. How is it
And-
being on the other end of that?
it's weird, man.
Yeah.
It's weird to judge, like, because I've never had to do that,
right.
and I'm not like one of the like, how do I'm not even an actor
Yeah,
per se, and so how do I judge this person on how good his acting skills are?
it's true.
So it was just funny, like just me and this guy, and we're just sitting there watching these guys go and reading our scripts and like acting it out, and you could tell different skill sets, like just
Okay,
based
yeah.
on how comfortable they were.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you got 40 or 50 people, so you get comfortable, so you know how
Yeah.
to judge. I mean, you don't know about acting on an intimate level per se, but
Mhm.
at least you can do a comparison throughout the auditioners, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That was the thing. You could see the people's different experience, how comfortable they were,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, we judged them from that. We didn't really cut anyone. There were some awkward characters that came through the door.
Yeah.
But everyone really, we just like had a pile of resumes, like about like a stack like this, and we were like, what do we do with this? We got so many people. We thought that we wouldn't get anybody, right? We thought
Right.
maybe like one or two
Naturally.
people would show up,
yeah.
and then we'd be like, oh yeah, if they're decent and they're comfortable in front of the camera, then they're good.
Good
They
to
got
go.
the role.
Yeah.
But then we had a bunch, and I was like, yo, like how do we sort this out? And so I mean, it was just a process, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the end of the whole thing, we got everything going. We had a bunch of people. Everyone was interested. And then we didn't get the funding for it. So the last piece was you had to get funding from the government
Right.
for it to be a legit project
Okay.
in order to put it on, like the TELUS channel or like the
Gotcha.
Shaw channels, the
Shaw
Omni
channel.
channel and stuff. So
Yeah.
I actually reached out to those people and I asked
Oh
them,
wow.
I was like, hey, I got this great story, this great script. We actually have everything in place, ready to go to film. How do I get it onto your channel?
Right.
And, a bunch of people didn't respond. But this one lady who works for Omni, she responded and she was like, film the pilot episode and then come
Right.
and, come and set up a meeting with us. But you need the funding first. So get the funding down, make sure it's legit. And then, at the end of it, we didn't get the funding. We applied, and it's just a rigorous application. They're not going to give you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000.
Mhm.
So what sort of stuff are they looking for to give funding? Like,
Having a director in place, having a business plan.
so making
and
sure
we
it's
had
like
no
a
idea.
legit thing.
Exactly, a business
Okay.
plan of like, okay, what if we get $10,000, what to the dollar, what are we going to use it for?
Gotcha.
All
And
right.
so, I mean, we wrote this really bad business plan. I mean, compared to people that actually know how to do plans and stuff like that, like
It's an undervalued skill.
it is, man. It is.
100%.
Yeah. So we ended up putting a 10-page business plan together. It was really bad, but at the time it was like the best we could do.
Yeah.
Sent that through. Didn't get the funding, and then kind of as the months went on, it kind of slowly fell apart because people kind of went and did other shows. They were on different actors. Always will get some sort of other gig, and then it kind of just
slide
slowly.
on off.
And it was tough, man, because I was playing with people's schedules too, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't always get everyone together at the same time and stuff, and
Gotcha.
it just kind of fizzled out after. And some people were asking me all the time, like, "Hero's Journey, what happened? Like, it's coming." I'm like, "Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Like, just wait. Like, just wait for it. It's coming." And then, yeah.
So at what point would you say when you're doing this whole process, did it kind of hit you and be like, oh, this is a reality? Like, this is a real
This is
thing?
actually going to be a thing. We've gone from just talking about how cool it would be to
Yeah.
this is a full-on thing we're making right now.
Did you have a moment like that?
Yeah. It was when we finished the scripts, because at the time I had like 6 rough copies of scripts,
Okay.
and they were like each like 150 pages long.
Down.
Yeah, and so it was like a legit, like we had a full story, because that was the beginning. It was like, okay, well, do we have a good story, like a good story for a movie or a TV series?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh. And at the time, in the meantime, while the script was getting made, I got those people. I got the director, I got the producers, I got the people in hand, and they were ready to go. Like, and we would meet up once a week at Paul Kane, actually.
Oh,
Funny
really?
thing, yeah, because I was able to access a room and just sit there and have just like a group.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I talked to the janitor, actually. I was like, hey, man, like I have nowhere to like have just like a meeting.
Yeah.
All I need is like an hour of like a classroom. And, he's like, yeah, just come through after school, like whenever.
Oh, that's
just
awesome.
let me know you're here. And then just, so we had the classroom, which was pretty dope. But, it was that moment when the script was finished and I had the 10 people that were just willing to go. And they didn't want a dime, which was nice. They were just excited about the project.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this could be a thing. Now all I need is actors. We got the film equipment, and let's go.
Just started rolling together.
Let's just, yeah.
That's always an interesting moment when it hits you and you're like, okay, this is a thing. Like, we're doing this. We're committed now. It's a slightly frightening, but more so exciting.
Yeah.
Because you all of a sudden, this whole other path of door of opportunity is just kind of opened. At least that's how I kind of feel when we had it with the podcast. Whereas when me and Tolu were at the music store, rental store, getting all this equipment together, and as soon as I was going to pay for it, I was like, okay, this is a thing. This is happening.
Yeah.
So it's always an interesting. I always ask people that question specifically because I'm curious as to what it was for them that kind of had that moment to realize that it's going to be a thing. Like, they're committed now.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the big challenges or lessons learned coming through that whole experience, which was quite a process? And I mean, you've done so much and gone so out of your element through that whole process. What would you say you took away from that maybe the most?
Biggest thing was actually the fear of other people's opinion on the TV show.
Okay.
Because when I put it out there, when I put the poster up on Facebook and I said that this was going to be a thing, it was nothing, right? It was nothing. And then they always knew me as like this, just this basketball player who was just going into university, just this regular dude.
Yeah.
Not knowing that I have this passion for acting or anything. So when I posted it, people were like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? How did you get this? Are you still in school? Like, what's going on type thing. And so the moment I put it out there on Facebook and posted it was the moment was like, okay, I got to get over this fear and of like people thinking of me in a certain way and how they're going to react to it. Even if this doesn't become a thing, I needed to, get through that.
Yeah.
And get over the fear of people thinking, oh, what's he doing? Why is he wasting his time? Oh, he's on a TV show. What does he think? Who is this guy? Like, what is he trying to do? Like, he's trying to hype himself up or whatnot. And it's that moment where it's like, okay, well, I'm done listening to other people, and I don't care if they like it or hate it. No. If it's not a thing, if it becomes a thing, whatever, I'm going to take that chance. Yeah. And so I just kind of dived into something that was completely out of my element. I was like, I'm going to get over that uncomfortability and just...
So you're learning all of this stuff as you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you have another script, you come up with another idea, and you want to do this process again. What do you do differently the second time?
Probably get someone on my team who knows how to manage and work around people's schedules. Because that was the most frustrating thing, was just dealing with people and their own personal life and their own problems, because they're taking out of their schedule to come meet with me, and it's my thing, right? It's not really their thing. And so if I can get people to have as much value into the project as I do, see, if the project blew up and it went on to the TV channel, or if it blew up into something, would they get something out of it as well, not just being, you know, an actor in it, or not just being somebody just helping out. That would be something I would do differently. I would approach it as you would get, if the biggest reward would be you would get this, this, and this out of it. Or if nothing comes out of it, this is what you're going to get out of it anyway. And so kind of creating that value at the forefront, versus when I walked into the coffees, it was like, yeah, it's, you know, it's this TV show. We got a bunch of writers, like we got film equipment hyping it up, where there wasn't really anything there. And eventually when they came to that realization, a lot of people just stopped calling me, stopped talking to me, and just left, right? And I didn't realize that I was just hyping something that was nothing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
It's important, I think, to make the distinction and say that don't undervalue the. I just want to highlight you overcoming that fear of rejection that you were kind of talking about before Peter's question. And I think that is a huge determining factor in stopping a lot of people from undertaking their own pet projects. That fear of rejection, and even realistically, not everyone's going to like your idea, as you've obviously come to that realization. And you're going to have to push through a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
And that fear, I think that's a huge thing maybe to think about for a lot of people if they've come through a similar situation, to get over that fear of rejection. And if you do have that, something to think about how you can push through that, because I would say that's a huge mental block on yourself that does not need to be there whatsoever.
Yeah.
And also probably another thing is just that stopping people on top of fear is just, this is such a huge thing, a TV show or whatever project they're doing. I have, like you said, I have no idea how to do this. I'm out of my element. I've never interviewed actors before. How do I just dive in there? It's probably so easy to give up. Like, I'll never figure that out. It's too hard.
Yeah.
It's true.
What the hell, what the hell, what the hell? Hey, yo, Selassie in the building, what the hell? Yo, my man Omid in the building, what the hell? What the hell? My man Issa in the building, what the hell? What the hell, what the hell, what the hell? My man Selassie in the building, what the hell? My man Omid in the building, what the hell? My man Issa in the building, what the hell?